And if you are on a computer, I can really recommend you to put on speaker's view that you will find up in the right corner on the computer. If you're on a phone, you just need to swipe a bit, but it's quite nice to just connect with the faces. We're sitting here around a digital fire. So it is a good action to just allow yourself to connect visually a bit deeper. And by that, I would also like to invite all of us to really remember that we're sitting around the digital fire together. That we are sitting in this space together through a screen, but still in the same space. So we all have entered the room. And now we'd just like to invite all of us to connect with ourselves deeper by just breathing and feeling a deeper connection with our bodies. One thing that can happen in an instant, just by entering a room with other fellow humans, is that we are stopped breathing deeply. Because we maybe get a bit anxious, nervous, alert, tense, afraid, whatever, and then our breathing starts to contract. But what we also do with our breath and our consciousness is that we support each other. Because we have a nervous system inside of us, but also in between us. If you are curious on that, I can invite you to dig deeper into Google and search for polyvagal theory. Just by your breath, you can support another human being to leave their ego at the door. And you can support yourself at the same time. And by that, I also want to remind you, before we go into the ceremony itself, that we are sitting here sharing this space, most of us through a screen, and it's easy for our reptile brain to go into Netflix mode and becoming like stone faces and statues, but that's what we're not. So please, I remind you to bring all your humanness into the space, and that is like, remember, we have a body. Netflix mode just keeps us very mental, and you just like digest mode, and we just like vegetables, consuming whatever comes. But here we are in an interactive space, and our mirror neurons in our brain needs the human interaction also to feel safe and to feel connected and responsive. And that's where we create a space that is alive and where we can bring forward the creativity that sparks in between us, the seeds that are already here and wants to grow. And that's also where we create more safety, so we can feel each other. And some easy things with the beyond Netflix mode is like using whatever we use when we talk to people and when we interact, when we sit around a common fire, not a digital fire. But it's also, we can use the tech, when someone shares or say something, we can clap our hands and we can do the symbols for interaction, or I feel you, or yeah, whatever feels right, or just bursting out in a laugh, or yeah. And whatever where you can go without feeling it's got too much hallelujah over it. But this is a ceremony, so that's also allowed. So 2 things where you can support yourself to leave your ego at the door and others is 1, by having the consciousness and knowledge around the 3rd nervous system that's in between us, that we are creating and can take responsibility over just by our breath and our posture. Because when I show with my body language that I'm not going to eat you or hit you or have any other tension or rejection or a judgment, I support openness. And the other part is not taking yourself so fucking seriously, even if we're in a ceremony space. Yeah. So we are a group of people where I actually would like to invite us to check in, also verbally, because we're not too many to do that. And for all of you who's not so familiar with Zoom, you can touch your mouse. You're maybe not using that word so much anymore, but there is a little icon for microphone. And when you press that and tell me if I'm wrong, Amit, then you can unmute yourself, right? So I would like to invite all of us to check into this ceremony with a word or a sentence. What's alive in you right now? A word or a sentence, what's alive in you right now? And there is nothing wrong and there is nothing right with what's alive in you right now. It's just alive. So I'm not going to give you any grade or anything else. Just speak it out and co-create a beautiful space of checking in. So the first person who feels pulled can start to check in. And then we just go in a beautiful flow until everyone checked in with a word or with a sentence, but no more storytelling than that. And please create like a rhythm. We don't have to wait like 30, 50, 2 minutes, because then the whole ceremony will go for check-in, and that could be fine, but that's not what I would like.
So I can start. And the word that I'm feeling most alive, it's about imagination. I'm feeling very capable of imagining a lot of scenarios and good things and possibilities to happen.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you for checking in, and thank also for making an example that I can use. You do not have to explain your checking in words. You can just say the word. Thank you for that, Marcus.
I will check in next with conflict and gratitude.
I will check in with momentum.
I will check in with human connection.
I will check in with curiosity.
I'll check in with energy.
I will check in with love and change.
I will check in with curiosity and openness.
I'll also check in with curiosity a lot.
I will check in with calm.
Thank you.
I check in with everything.
Thank you.
I will, can you hear me? Okay. I will check in with spirit.
I will check in with exploration.
I will check in with a passion for exploration and expansion.
Thank you. Then I will check in with calmness. So, warmly welcome to the ceremony of leaving your ego by the door. And I would like to start out to invite 3 voices in this room around this digital fire that would like to play around, share, very shortly, like stay as to the core as you can. What is ego? And this is not like a textbook, I'm going to give you the perfect description. Like just what comes up, I would like to invite 3 voices in this room right now, who takes maximum 30 seconds of voice time, but just allow yourself to share right now, what is ego? And it's okay also to write in the chat, so more voices, but just 3 spoken voices. What is ego?
Okay. It's actually something that I will be talking about, the ego. So it's pretty easy for me now to speak about it. So what I experienced as the ego for myself during a meditation was the border where the ego is, okay? And the border is exactly here, all right? Where your awareness is. As soon as your awareness is a little bit outside of yourself and not through yourself, you're in the ego, you're in the illusion. When you're coming through you, from you, you're experiencing everything inside of you, you're in your authentic self. That's how I see it.
Thank you. Thank you. So next voice. And I also see that someone have already written in the chat. Next voice. What is ego?
For me, it's like very negative cling of it, like very self-centered. And I see the ego as something where I do not have full, like I'm not in contact. I can't, like it's impossible to be in contact with everything that's me when I'm in my ego. Like to be calm and to be just, that's what pops up. That's tillgång till hela kroppen. I don't know how to describe it.
Access to my whole body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I think.
Thank you, Elin. Who would like to be the 3rd voice?
Ego is not being centered in yourself. Ego is lots of noise, lots of rushing around, lots of trying to prove things to others. Ego doesn't come from a place of love for others or necessarily a place of love for self. Ego is a distraction, a non-connected way of living with no peace, no calm, just noise.
Thank you. I am curious if I could, if you feel the pull to be invited into, like, to set a ground for how much of us we can dare to show on this gathering of World of Wisdom. If we can be the pioneers who goes to a place where we allow us to enter an exercise that can be a bit scary, excited, and fun, but it can be challenging. And by that, we open up a space for all the others who enter this space to allow them to leave their ego by the door, because we have been seen and we've been loved in it. So we create safety for ourselves and others. It's safe to show ourselves. It's safe for the ego to be around so it can rest and stay at this part of the shoulder, and you can allow yourself to come from an authentic space in our interactions here at the festival. Can I see how many feels like, yay? And it's all good if you feel like, hell no. Can I see a visual of where you're at, and then do something with your hands for if you feel like, yes, I'm into it. Yeah, okay. So I see your hands, Melka, like this. Does that mean like, or, okay, good. So I got a visual from everyone. And of course, in every exercise, when you step in and you don't really know, you're always allowed to step out. And you're always allowed to dare to be in it the way it feels right for you. That's the self-radical responsibility we all have in every choice we are making in our lives. Ego doesn't like that sentence. I'm kidding a little bit, but it's some truth in it. So right now I am inviting us into an exercise where we can explore the parts of our persona, our personality, our ego that we are still haven't maybe have the capacity to love enough, so we can be relaxed enough in it. And I'm going to ask you, Nils, if you would like to just facilitate me maybe 30 seconds so we can show how you're going to do it in the breakout rooms, because you're going to break out in rooms 2 and 2. So you're going to be in a safe space with one other person during the exercise and then coming back. But as we know, when we go through the black holes or the wormholes in the cyberspace, we go out, but we're still interconnected, and then we come back, and whatever we did in these little spaces, it's being created in this space we're in and the space beyond us. That's my story of reality anyway, and you can take it or you can leave it. So, Nils, what we are going to do in the exercise is inquiry. That's a technique. That means that one person who has the longest hair of the two of you will start by saying, welcome. And the person with the shortest hair will answer a question that is, if you would know this about me, you would not be able to love me. So if you would know ... this about me, you wouldn't be able to love me. When the person says that sentence, filled in the dots with whatever comes up, because that's the inquiry. You shouldn't figure this out like in forehand. It's not from the mind. And anything can come up, and that's the beauty with inquiry. It's about going deeper and exploring and allowing whatever comes up to come up. So Nils, are you ready to make a show off?
Sure. That said, I might be a windy sound because I have a 2-year-old ego in a stroller who demands my attention at the same time. Just so you guys know that. But I'm ready.
Thank you. So I invite you, Nils. I welcome you by answering the question, if you would know this about me, ... you wouldn't be able to love me.
Thank you. If you would know that I sometimes think I'm better than other people, you would not be able to love me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And then you go on, you just give a little bit of space, and Nils answer that again. If you would know this.
Okay. If you would know that I feel like I'm never done and I have to achieve something great. And I never get there, you would not be able to love me.
Thank you. Welcome. And you can mute yourself, Nils, so we don't have to have your wind and airs. Thank you. Thank you so much. And if you could see that the person with the shortest hair just keep on answering that question. If you would know this about me, you would not be able to love me. And the person with the long hair just say, welcome. And you just sit and practice to be centered in yourself when you're receiving the person's answer. Just open yourself up and remind yourself that by just breathing and allowing whatever comes to come, to hold space for that person, that's enough. Nothing needs to be said, nothing needs to be done. It just needs to be seen. You will go into the breakout rooms. You will have 5 minutes in total, 2 minutes each. So after 2 minutes, you swap. Amit will make a liner that you can see in your breakout rooms. It's time to swap. So for 2 minutes, you're just constantly asking the question without any explanations or anything, just answering. If you would know this about me, you would not be able to love me. And the other person just say, welcome. All of you is allowed, welcome. And then you swap, 2 minutes, and then you have 1 minute to just sit either in silence with each other, or you want to say thank you for each other, or there is anything else that wants to be done, but there's nothing needs to be done. Okay, and then you will come back to the space, and then we will end the ceremony. So Amit, would you like to swoop the people away?
Off you go.
And I invite you to just sit with the space and the silence for a little while. If one word would embrace your experience you just had, no matter what that word is, what word would summarize your experience you just had in the breakout rooms? And I invite you to write in the chat and voice it for the one who wants to voice it. And just do it one word with a flow. And the one who feels pulled, start, and then we just...
Gratitude.
Love.
Recognition.
Humbling.
Demanding.
Humbling.
Difficult. Sorry.
I heard difficult, I heard calmness.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, exposed.
And there I close the circle of flow. I will close it with my own word, and my word for now is love. Leaving ego by the door is inviting us all to create a safe space where we can deeply feel the human connection, and that you know deep inside of you that no matter what, you're loved. Then we are safe enough to keep a secure connection in between us and stay connected. So thank you, all of us, for the courage to show up in our shame and our inner guilt, and sharing the parts where we maybe still believe that we are not worthy of being loved. That can hinder us from stay connected when we enter a room, because someone looks or say or someone feels the way that trigger something from our past. That the ego just comes because it learned is an intelligence that once developed to keep us safe. So leaving the ego by the door is deeply knowing that no matter what, I'm loved for just being me, and I can trust that. So further through the gathering, a good way of noticing if the ego is coming back in is contraction around breathing, tension in body, judgment, and being a bit outside of yourself. So bring it back by touching your neck. There are a lot of nerve endings. That's a way of hacking the vagus nerve. By taking 3 deep breaths with like deep inhale, long exhale. And if you have the guts to be a bit playful, you can have sound on it. And loosen your jaws, because we lock our jaws when we don't want to feel what goes on inside of us. Looking at some person, open your posture, sending love, and at the same time be very first with your boundary. If they show up as an asshole, tell them to go to the door, take a couple of breaths and leave the ego there, because we are safe to listen in and stay open so the wisdom can pour all around us and the creativity and the fun can spark. So I invite one voice in to end the ceremony with pouring that person's voice of wisdom or creativity or fun or whatever wants to come alive to end this ceremony. Who would like to take this space and voice our checkout? And leave the fucking ego by the door. If you feel pulled, just do it. Thank you.
You're muted, Pamela.
I said unmute us all so we can say goodbye and leave this room.
Wow. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
What just happened?
Bye.